Okay, so today we are starting with dynamic games. So the term dynamic itself says a lot about the kind of games that we are going to discuss. Essentially, games where time is explicit. Now, by that, what do we mean? We will take an example and it will be clear to you. What do we mean by time is explicit? Okay. Two other terms in connection to dynamic games that will become common. Number one is sequential move. In many books, you will find the same topic is under sequential games, but it is not sequential games, it is sequential move game. Okay, because there is time, movements will be sequential always. And we will bring in the last topic that we learn, that is extensive form representation. So here we will bring in that form of representation and we will see how that helps in solving dynamic games. It is because, especially because of dynamic games, we learned all of this. Now, in static games, we have learned many solution concepts. Solution concepts like standard Nash equilibrium or the idea of dominance or dominated strategies, right? So here also, we will deal with two solution concepts. The first one is very simple. The first one is this. We will consider a dynamic game. We will write it in its normal form. So instead of going into extensive form, we will represent the given game in the normal form and we will find the Nash. So that will be our one approach, okay? Or one solution idea. The second one is dependent on extensive form and it is obviously of a different kind. The second one is SPNE, subgame perfect Nash equilibrium. And before that, we will learn a simpler solution concept, which is called backward induction. However, there is one little problem. That problem is that the idea of rationality that we considered while searching for Nash equilibrium is a bit different from the idea of rationality that we will need to find SPNE. And the reason is obviously the aspect of time, but there is another dire need. And that need is that in normal form, if we solve in representing in normal form a dynamic game, then it can generate Nash equilibria which are not really attainable, or to be more correct, which are not credible. Credible in the sense that when we are solving a game, what we are trying to do is this: we are taking a game and we are trying to predict if that game is being played, then what can be the equilibrium strategies that we may observe. When I'm saying a strategy is non-credible, what I'm trying to say is that by solving, I'm finding it as a solution, but in the actual play of the game, I may not at all see it appearing. Now, that is definitely a problem because we will be predicting, or we will face a problem of over prediction, okay? A problem that we want to avoid, okay? So here we will start with example and we will cover this chapter of dynamic games mostly through examples, okay? So the game that is written here, this game, it is essentially our famous Battle of Sexes with sequential version, we can say, or dynamic version, whatever. Okay, so let's be more correct. Let us write dynamic version. So dynamic version. So what is the story now? Earlier, the husband and wife, they were deciding which action to choose or which strategy to play simultaneously. But here, it is happening sequentially. Now, if we are dealing with a sequential structure, then we must first decide who is the first mover, right? So here in our example, the first mover is wife. Related to this, there is a term in game theory which is called first mover advantage. In some game it exists and in some game it does not. Anyways, so here without loss of generality, we consider wife to be the first mover. Now what is the story now? It's changed a bit. Wife has chosen something. Something means whether to go to a football match or to a cinema. And then she is calling her husband and asking where to go. Okay. And depending on the strategy, after knowing what his wife has done, depending on the strategy chosen by the husband, the combined result will yield these four payoff structures. Okay. So here you can see that the payoff structure remains the same. So the essence of the game remains the same. That is, if there is a match, then both will gain. If it matches on football, then husband will get more. And if it matches on cinema, then wife will get more. But if there is a mismatch, then both of them will end with 0. Now, the important part here is, the important difference here is that now husband can observe. So now husband can observe what his wife is doing. Now husband has two actions, right? So what are the actions possible? Actions possible, they are going to football or going to a cinema. But since husband can observe what wife is doing, now husband has 4 strategies instead of 2. Okay. So why suddenly 4? Because now these 2 actions which are possible, okay, each of them has got 2 options. So the husband can choose either of them in 2 cases. Case 1 is wife choosing F, and the second is wife choosing C. So that means there will be 4 set of actions, right? Number 1 is, we are trying to list them. Number 1 is husband always choosing football. So let's write it like this. So 4 possible strategies. So let's write it like this. Always football, then always cinema. How to interpret them? So whatever the wife chooses, husband chooses football. Okay. Then comes 2 other. Number 3, I'll write it like this. Follow wife. So what does it mean? If wife chooses football, husband chooses football. If wife chooses cinema, husband chooses cinema. Then the 4th one, which is not very good actually, which I'll write contradict wife. So Wife chooses football, husband chooses cinema, wife chooses cinema, husband chooses football. Now, common sense tells us that this strategy of contradicting your own wife is not very good idea, not because of this idea of equalities or something, but simply because if you contradict, then each and every time we'll end up with zero payoff. So that's not a really good idea. So in our mind, we can see that this is something, this is not a good strategy to choose. What about the other three? First things first. First is, let's say here contingencies has changed, right? Here we have four possible strategies, and these strategies are conditional on what the wife chooses. So conditional on wife's act, right? Now, how to write that? If that is true, then next question is how to write that. We have to write it in a different fashion. So let us look at the first solution concept that we talked. What is that? Here we have the extensive form representation of dynamic BOS. The first idea is, let us represent it in the normal form and solve for the Nash. And for that, we need the strategies. So here we have two strategies for wife, footballer, cinema. For husband, at each node he has two actions possible, and that makes husband's strategies these four. But since he can observe, these strategies are basically conditioned on wife's act. So now we are going to solve the first simple problem, is how to write them. Okay, how to write this contingency. And make sure when I'm writing that you can read them, because reading is very important. Okay, so let us write the normal form representation of this game. Okay. So remember, when I have written the first strategy of husband saying always cinema, that essentially means whether our dear wife chooses cinema or football, husband is going to stick with cinema. So that means I will read this as cinema conditional on cinema, right? I'm writing it in shorter. I'm writing it shorter. Remember that this cinema is basically, it belongs to husband. So husband choosing cinema conditional on wife choosing cinema. And here always cinema. So cinema conditional on wife choosing football. Okay. So let us make this writing very clear. So now this, if this much we know, then we know that given this idea of choosing always C, if wife chooses cinema, then there will be payoff, positive payoff. And if wife chooses football, then two will go to different places. So 0, 0. Let us understand these two boxes, okay? Because based on that, we will write the other three. So again, these are strategies chosen by F, and these are, so these are wives, and these are husbands. So husband C conditioned on wife's C. That is the idea. Now, if wife chooses C, then C and C, it will give this payoff. And if husband chooses wife, F, sorry, if wife chooses F, then C, so 0, 0. Okay. So this is our depiction of first strategy, and we will write now the other three. So at least we know that this much we have to write everywhere, right? And then we will decide which strategy to put. Okay. Here also. Yeah, so that's how it works, right? Okay, then is follow wife, okay, which is the good one. And then is contradict wife, so opposite. And then always football. So you know that if the husband follows wife, then in this structure it is always better. So this game kind of is more equal in today's sense, right? It favors kind of equality. But let's see what happens. Here it will be 0, 0, and here it will be 1, comma 2. Why? Because wife choosing football and husband chooses football when wife chooses football. So matches. Right? Okay. So now if we look at the Nash equilibria here, then we will find 3 of them. First is this one, right? Then second is this one, which is our famous BOS equilibrium of the simultaneous version, right? And this one. Okay. So there are 3 Nash equilibria. Now we are going to see something very interesting. Okay. So there are 3 equilibria. What are they? Let's say number 1 is this. Wife goes for cinema. Husband goes for, let us write it in the way we have written earlier. So husband goes for always cinema. Number 2 is wife goes for cinema. Husband follows wife. Number 3 is wife goes for football. Husband always football. Okay? And now we are going to make a claim. But first observe this. See, now husband can observe what wife is doing. And since there is this idea that if the place where they are going are different, each of them will end up with 0 payoff, it might be compelling for the husband to threat her wife. So we are talking about this idea, threat wife by always football, right? So what we are trying to say is this: you come home, you act angry, and you say, I am going to the football match always, whatever you do. All right. Now that kind of a threat might work, or rather we'll say that making a threat has a huge incentive, because that will give the highest payoff to the husband in terms of absolute value, that is 2, right? Now we are making a claim, and the claim is this. The claim is that this threat is not credible at all. So our claim is that, this is an empty threat. It has no meaning, right? It's something, in single word, it's basically called bluffing, right? If you have seen action movies, you know what is bluffing. So we're saying that this is a bluff played by the husband. And since people are rational here, people can see through the bluff of each other. And that means that this empty threat is not going to work. And that means this equilibrium 3 is not going to appear when there will be an actual play. And this is something. This means that we have here an equilibrium which we will never observe in the actual play of the game, right? But now the important question is this claim correct? Let's see. See, let's say husband makes this threat, but given husband has made this threat, the wife still has the first mover's option, right? Given husband made this threat, the wife still has the first call. Now let us assume that instead of following this threat, wife chooses cinema. Okay, what will happen then? Is there any possibility under which the husband will be able to carry out this threat? So if wife chooses cinema and husband carries out this threat, then what will be his payoff? 0-0, right? But instead of carrying out this threat, if the husband chooses otherwise, then he will get at least one here and here. Okay, so that means given this threat, if wife chooses cinema at the first move, there is no way husband is going to carry out this threat. And this is why we claim it an empty threat. So this equilibrium involves an empty threat and it becomes non-credible. So you are not going to observe it in real world, right? So can't observe. Okay, now we will argue that this first one also has the same problem. So what the first one says is this. The first one says that husband is going to choose always cinema, right? And that actually kind of favorable to the wife, obviously, definitely. But anyways, for a change, if wife chooses football, then the husband has no option instead of choosing football. So this is something also we can't observe always. Though we definitely know that given our way of ordering, there is little scope that husband will actually carry out this kind of a threat, that I'll always go to cinema, whatever you do. So here at the end of the day, what you observe is this second equilibrium is coming out as the only equilibrium which is, let us say, correct or which is observable. So let us just write down what is this equilibrium, second one. So what we are saying is wife chooses cinema and husband follows wife, right? So this is kind of our statistics, writing style of statistics, right? So now, given this discussion, what we now observe is that we have another concern in dynamic games which was absent when we studied static games. And in one single word, that concern is this: credibility. So we can end up with Nash equilibrium which are not credible at all. So that means Nash here is not incompetent in that sense. What I'm trying to say is that Nash here yields equilibria, some of which are credible and some of which are also non-credible. So we have more of an answer. Now the question is obviously how to resolve it, how to find a method through which if we solve, if we'll get only those Nash equilibria which are credible. For this, we need what I said in the start. For this, we need principle of sequential rationality, an idea which is somewhat different than the idea of rationality that we studied. Okay, and after that we will study SPN. Okay. In the next session, we will study another game which is called the predation game. And predation game is very important. This game is also known as preemptive price cutting. Okay. So it is also known as preemptive price cutting by a monopolist. It explores the simple possibility that facing an entrant, will monopolist accommodate, or will he fight? Okay. So given there is a monopolistic market, one seller and huge profit, we will explore whether an entrant will be interested in entering there, or what are the possibilities of having a new entrant, and given such a possibility, how a monopolist would react. Okay. And this is also known as predation game.